I think we are recording. Let me check. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome again to my channel. In this episode, I share with you Rebel's Guide to saying no. No, 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 no. I'm not kidding. What I'm doing now is what I practiced in front of a mirror. I love you, honey, but no. I love you, sweetie. You're my daughter. I love you, but no, not this time. I really love you, Dad, but really, no, I cannot make it this time. Um, I love you, sis. Yeah, yeah, I love you, but I have to say no this time. Hey, dear. Yeah, you are my best friend, but I have to say no this time. How fucking hard is that? To say no to loved ones? So, this is Rebel's Guide to Saying No because it's saying yes to whom? To yourself. So, I know it's hard. That's why I practice in front of the mirror. So, you may hear the quote saying no is complete sentence. Complete sentence. But still, you are not using it like that. You're saying no, but, or you're saying no, really, but, and then you start explaining, or no, okay, now when you say it, I will say yes. So you just don't persist in saying no, and that is why I created this, and I'm calling it Rebel's Guide for Saying No, because I don't know if you know, but I have podcast which is called Self Care Rebel, and on that podcast we talk about women and self care practices and how we are rebels when we stand in front of ourselves and we stand in front of loved ones, and we are demanding and we are going for self-care practices. It is a rebellious act because no one taught us that. And no one considers that we need to have these self-care practices. So we need to be rebels in our own society and stand for ourselves. So this is, let me check here. Okay, the recording is okay. I'm still not used to do these videos, and I don't have professional studio. As you can see, I'm in my room, and I'm waiting every time that my cats come in and go out. So let me go through my Rebel's Guide for Saying No. So first thing you need to do is understand why it's hard to say no. And there are no huge explanations like we need to go deep in some studies or whatever. We learn that way. Psychology studies show that we as children, not we, but when we were children, we have been punished to say no to superiors like our parents. So we learn to say yes to please them, and we just transferred it to adulthood. And this is the behavior we see most of the people, for example, have with saying no to their bosses because they are superiors. But it's also that we learn to say yes to younger or older brothers and sisters. We learn to say yes to our aunt who is giving us hugs, but we don't want hugs. Or we are used to say yes to go to relatives that we don't like because our parents told us. So who are and then we need to say yes to our teachers, and so on, so on. So we learned that way, and I see that through my motherhood with my children, that I'm questioning every time I wanting them to say yes, but I see in their behavior and in their sentences that they struggle with it. So we talk about it. I don't want them to grow up as adults who are learned only to say yes. And then when we come to adulthood, we overassess what are going to be consequences for saying no, and we don't do that. We just say yes, because we learn that by saying no, there are some consequences that are going to be there. Our boss is going to be mad, our mother is going to be mad, our father is going to be, everybody are going to be mad or angry or disappointed on us. So it's much easier to say yes. So that is the first thing in this guide. It is to understand that it's not something that is inherited. It's something, and it's not part of our behavior in that way. It is just hard to say no because we learn that way. But the good thing is what we learn can be unlearned, or we can change it for another habit. The second thing in this guide, what you need and think to do if you want to learn how to say no, is you have to know your priorities and schedule them. You know, it's much easier to say no if you know your goals, if you know your priorities for the day, week, or a month ahead. So if you have planned the goals for this year, and if you break it down to the small chunks, like 90 days goals or whatever tool or system you use, then it's much easier to say no. When someone asks you to do something or to go somewhere or whatever, you can politely answer when is the best time for it. And it's okay if you say, you know, I already have plans today, I cannot make it today, but you know, Saturday sounds good, we can go for a coffee, or we can go for a walk, or I can go to pick up whatever you needs me to pick up. You know that I'm a coffee lover. This is Nespresso with a little bit of milk. Uh, I love drinking it, especially from this glass cup. So you have to know your priorities and you need to schedule them. And when you have something scheduled, it's much easier to say no to people. It is, even when you're talking to your boss, you need to be careful how you're transferring this and how you're communicating this message. But nonetheless, you can negotiate and you can say, for example, something like this: you know, I really love the work I'm doing and I really love the project you gave me, but the deadline is really tight. So can we consider next time that we start earlier, or what can I help you to make this process much easier because my schedule is already full? So you are not saying no, but you're transferring and politely offering the solution for a problem. Third thing I want you to consider is ask your body. So when someone asks you to do something, pay attention to your body and how it's feeling. Do you suddenly feel overwhelmed or stressed out, or your heart is beating? That is a sign that you need to say no. So we didn't learn to trust our body. We only learned to trust our mind, but we need to trust our body and what it's feeling and how it's feeling, because it's showing us when we need to say no. So when you feel overwhelmed and you are like, your blood pressure is going up because you know that by saying yes to this person, you're going to ruin all your day, then say no. It is a sign that you need to say no. Another tactic in this Rebel's Guide is that give yourself time to think and pause. Um, Saying to somebody, sure, I can do it, it's easy and it's quick. But I really urge you and challenge you to practice, let me think. So it doesn't matter if it's bad or good, or you want it or don't want it, but just practice whenever you have this need to say yes, or you want to say yes, transfer it into the sentence which says, let me think, and practice that sentence. With practicing that sentence, you're reinforcing to pay attention to your body and to your mind, and you will see the way your body and your mind will answer. Your mind can go like, I really don't want to go. I'm really not into that in this moment. I have too many things to finish and I will be exhausted when I come back. And then again, find polite way to say no. Don't use lies. I see people when they don't want to say no, they say, my dog is dying and my grandma needs me or my sister needs me. You don't need to lie. You just need to be honest and say what's going on, and it's okay. Your friends and family, they love you, and they will understand if you just say, it's too much on my plate today and I will be exhausted. Can you please move that for tomorrow? They will understand. And the ones who understand, who cares? Just tell them what you feel. It's much better to be honest. My fifth advice in this guide is that whatever I said in these 4 things, sometimes you will say yes when it's no, just because you love some people and some events, and accept that there are going to be events when everything in you, in your body, in your mind, everything struggles, but then you think that it's much better to show up and to say yes. And what I mean by that is, if your grandmother is celebrating 90 years birthday and you don't like relatives that are going to be there, you are constantly arguing with them, there were situations when you two have been fight against each other on some opinions, I will say screw them. Your grandmother is much, much, much more important than them. So just go there and be there for your grandmother. Say yes to this event, even though it's challenging to say that, and even though it's challenging to show up, because there is higher priority and there is higher cause, which is your grandmother will love you to be there. And I could go on for 2 days with this. I have so many examples from women that I work with and their situations in how they couldn't say no, and then they learned some tactics and tricks and how to do that. But these are the basic steps. So these 5 things are the basic things you need to know to practice saying no. And the most important thing is that you need to pay attention to yourself, to your priorities, to your mind, body, and soul. That is not selfish. It's really not selfish. It is enabling you to be fully present for people you know and you love. And once you clear your schedule by saying no to certain situations and certain people, you will see that that schedule and that time frame you have will be fulfilled with either people who you love or the events who you love, or just with you and yourself, giving yourself some me time. So go try some of these tactics, and bye for now, and see you in next week. Bye.